It's you. How dare you? No, wait. It isn't you. Is it? I suppose you'd better come in.
Mach auf.
I'll unlock the door.
Thanks.
I know what you're thinking. Evil twin, supernatural powers. But most of the time, I just like to keep things basic. I want you to understand that. Like this. Need to get your hands dirty? No batteries, no moving parts, just physics. That's technology you can depend on. It's a classic. Speaking of classics, you need to be careful with this one, though. If the victim suddenly twists, you might end up cutting yourself. It's not really a workhorse, but I'm a sucker for this style. Now this is more like it. You've got slip-resistant grip. Believe me, you really want that traction once you're wrist deep in somebody. The blade's stiff enough so it won't open by accident in your pocket, but it's still really easy to open with just one hand. Now that's a big thing for me. I know what you're thinking. It's too big, too heavy. But sometimes you just need the extra oomph. If you're talking intimidation, this is gonna do the job. Also great for dismemberings and whatnot. You know, the messy jobs. I can't tell you how many things I've MacGyvered with this stuff. Okay, now, guns. Not a big fan. I mean, how are you supposed to really connect with somebody with a bullet? I want you to understand that. I take pride in what I do. We can't both be worthless hacks, can we?
Es liegt doch nicht da drin, sein Leben zu nutzen, indem man andere Leute foltert und tötet und dessen Leben dann nimmt. Keiner hat das Recht, irgendwen das Leben zu nehmen.
You'll have to forgive me, but this feels very strange. It seems like this has all happened before.
I have the replacement part for your telescope, Doctor.
All right. Let's get it installed.
Verstehe ich nicht. Ich kann es nicht nachvollziehen, wie man jemanden töten kann und dann sagen kann, wir können beide nicht Nixnutzer sein. Einer muss da was aus sich machen und das ist der total falsche Weg.
I think we can give this a go. Although I have this strange feeling that something will
Don't
go wrong.
start it up yet. There's a problem with the coolant system.
Yes, that's right. I remember. All right, let me think. If they're sabotaging it, they'll be at the primary coolant pipe outside. If you can secure it, we should be ready to pick up the signal. That is why you're here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'll take care of it.
Before you go, if you have the time, I'd appreciate if you came up here and explained a few things. All of this is very strange.
Ach, Mann. Okay, jetzt sind die auch anders. Ob das jetzt richtig war, einfach zu gehen? Ob das auch die Zeit verändert? Oder den Zahn der Zeit, besser gesagt? Weil jetzt haben wir nicht mit ihr geredet, wir haben ja nichts erklärt. Aber gehen einfach. Oh Mann, jetzt muss ich echt den ganzen Weg. Wow. Ich muss den ganzen Weg gelaufen, ey. Der ist ja riesig, ne? Fällt mir jetzt gerade auf. So, tschüss. Die Waffe ist zwar gut, aber die braucht übertrieben lange zum Nachladen und das gefällt mir nicht. So, gehen wir schnell Munition nachladen und dann nachholen, also hier Nachschub holen und dann können wir das Ventil öffnen. Da ist doch irgendwas. Kick mal einer an, hat sich einer drin versteckt. Tja, das war jetzt aber irgendwie, war schon ein bisschen cool. Fand ich gerade nicht schlecht. Haben wir noch was von? Ja, wir haben noch ein bisschen was von. Nehmen wir mal die gut bewährte Mutzi Uzi. Hä? Ach so. Dann machen wir das doch. Hä? Sollte ich nicht die primären Dinger öffnen? Ja, sicher an diese Rohre? Schätze ich auch nicht. Ach, schade. Sah zwar cool aus, aber hat nicht viel Scheiße. Oh oh, oh oh. Jetzt geht's richtig ab. Jetzt wird's ja mal spannend hier, Leute. Aua. Oh Gott. Alter, wie geil ist das denn jetzt bitte? Schon wieder ein bisschen cool, würde ich sagen. So, aus dem Weg, Freunde. Puh. Also, der Dicke ist schon ordentlich, ey. Wenn er seinen Affenschrei macht, dann ist er unverwundbar, komischerweise. Also mit der ganz schwachen Lampe können wir ihnen zwar ein bisschen schaden. Also so verhindern, dass sie uns angreifen. Also die halten ihre Hand vors Gesicht, aber wir können die halt nicht den Schatten, glaube ich, beseitigen. Von sich. Also diesen Schutzschatten. Schutzschatten. Boah, was für ein Wort. Aber wir haben das Licht angeschaltet, aber das Licht ist aus. Ja, dann wollen wir mal uns die Sterne anschauen. Am sanften Himmelzelt. Bei einer gemütlichen Runde Pokern. Alter, guck, der sieht auch aus wie so ein Typ, wie so ein Schattenmonster.
Find the signal?
Yes, I don't think it's quite the same thing we had, the last time. Still, we're definitely picking it up.
Are we getting the complete signal now?
I'm afraid not. Take a look at it yourself. I'm printing out a hard copy now. I'd like to ask you a question or two before that, though, if you don't mind.
What's on your mind, Doctor?
Most people would find these events extremely disturbing, provided that they survive these creatures, that is. You seem to be quite adept at dealing with the situation. Why is that?
Yes, I was involved in... It's a complex story. I was in this small town, and a horrible thing from another dimension kidnapped my wife and manipulated me into writing this horror story that came true. I learned to fight it with light, and I managed to contain it and free my wife. But I was trapped in its world.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. So, I'm used to reality working in strange or even impossible ways. And I fought these things, not exactly like this, but close enough for a good while now. Of course, I have certain advantages. Was there anything else?
What did you mean when you said you have advantages?
At the risk of sounding like a lunatic, reality is much more fluid than people think. It can be influenced.
I didn't take you for a mystic.
I'm not. I'm a writer. And under certain conditions, I can, for lack of a better word, rewrite reality. Change things.
That's absurd.
But it works.
Assuming I believe this, why don't you simply, I don't know, write yourself some superpowers?
It's not quite that simple. You need to follow certain laws of drama, I suppose. You need to think about consistency and symbolism. Often what you write isn't anywhere near as important as what you imply. There are things out there that will take advantage of your mistakes.
You really believe in this?
Don't look at me like that. You've experienced some of this yourself.
I will gladly admit that something exceedingly strange is going on. But this idea that you're somehow altering reality with your writing is ridiculous. You're essentially saying you're controlling my actions. Leaving aside the rational arguments against this, what gives you the right?
Well, it's more like having a destiny. A path you're on. You're not aware of it, but there it is. If somebody changes it, what difference does it make? It's what every writer does. If you write something that affects one of the characters, they don't really know about that.
I'm not a character. Are you saying that it's all right to take advantage of someone if they aren't aware of it?
Look, all I meant was that if you're genuinely making all your own decisions, and those decisions lead to whatever destiny you have, what practical difference does it make?
I suppose that depends on whether our destinies are determined by things like physics and probabilities, or natural reality, which is presumably neutral and impartial, or by some kind of an intelligence. If it's the latter, that intelligence makes choices based on some criteria. If we suffer as a result of those choices, there's a moral and ethical element involved, regardless of whether we're aware of its manipulations. Wouldn't you agree?
You're taking this very well. I thought you'd be hangry.
I suppose I would be if I thought you could actually do this.
Ja, wenigstens eine, die mich irgendwo ein bisschen versteht oder wenigstens ein bisschen ausführlicher ausführt.
The message is still not complete, but it's another piece of the weapon he has built against his adversary. Mere words on a piece of paper, but in the right hands, they will hold back the darkness. The last time the man came to the drive-in, it did not end well. He hopes to avoid that fate this time. He hopes that what he has brought with him to this place is enough.
Was hat er denn großartig mitgenommen aus seiner Erfahrung, was davor passiert ist? Das ist gerade sozusagen an seiner Geschichte gefangen und versuchen halt alles irgendwie komischerweise umzuschreiben oder umzustellen, dass das halt alles, dass wir halt hier draußen entkommen können. Ja, ob das uns alles gelingen wird, erfahrt ihr in der nächsten Folge von Alan Wake, American Nightmare. Also bis dann, ciao. Blah.